You guys like buying video games?
I do.
You guys like dishing out 3-figure video games?
Yeah.
3 figures?
Yeah, 3 figures for video games.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 1 and a 0 and a 0.
0, 0, 0.
We did that for Suicide Squad. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Don't remind me
Actually,
of
for many, because they're like, hey, pay this money and you get free access, and we give you some BS stuff that you probably won't ever use.
Yep.
Well, if you guys didn't know, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out in the near future, and there are people who are wanting and hoping that it comes out with a $100 MSRP right off the bat, which is a huge jump because obviously now we're paying $70 for video games that like PlayStation and most games or most companies are charging for now. And so the current discussion is, should video games increase their price going forward? We've always had this, like back in the 90s and even before that, games were like $50 and then they kind of went to $60. I don't know when that transition happened. Was it Xbox 360?
Xbox 360, yeah.
And it was like, hey, there's all these costs and inflation and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, cool. But when Steam came out, there's a lot of hope that the games would get cheaper and cheaper because most of the money being spent at the time was to put it out, on store shelves and stuff. So you had to buy
Physical merchandise.
Yeah, you had to buy the boxes and the little pamphlets you put in there, all this stuff. Stocking costs. But for some reason, over time, games have not really gone down in price. They've only increased. Some games coming out on Steam, like indie games, have been like cheaper, obviously. And then on the Switch, indie games there have been pretty cheap, but they could have been cheaper because apparently Nintendo charges more. Anyway, as we're going forward, as inflation increases, as the gaming industry has seen a lot of failures in the last few years, maybe 5 years, a lot of layoffs and stuff, now they're talking about only if we increase prices that would help the industry, potentially. So, what do you guys think about a $100 video game across the board for most AAA titles?
I mean, what is considered a AAA title? A lot of companies come out and say, oh, this is going to be a AAA title game like Concord. Would you how upset would you be? You paid $100 for that game and they just shut it down.
Yeah.
That's happening a lot. Way more often than before.
So I think I think if Grand Theft Auto 6, because I know that's where the original conversation started, is because of the people over at Rocksteady was saying that Grand Theft Auto 6 should be $100, which I think that happened in a meeting between Rockstar and stuff, and it got leaked. And I think they were just joking around and just tossing out numbers. I could be wrong about that. But I think if Grand Theft Auto 6 starts this, it's going to create a wave of gaming companies doing the same thing. But that is my only concern, is that these companies come out with this game. Oh, this is a AAA title. It's going to be fucking worth it. Yada, yada, this. You pay $100 for it and you get it. And it's fucking buggy. It's not complete. It's like Forspoken. It's just straight up garbage. And then that's just going to bring more distrust than we already have with these gaming companies. So that's my outlook on it.
Well, that's what I think the challenge is that on the business side, games are, in essence, based off inflation, stuff like that, they are as cheap. They were cheaper than they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or whatever, because of the inflation stuff. So it makes sense that because games are more complicated to make, there requires more staff, this, that, whatever, you do raise the price of games. But on the consumer perspective, to that point, there are so many people that are bringing out games that are half-baked, half thought about, half whatever, probably because they're so big that they can't, they run into this scope creep issue where they run out of, in a perfect world, I would be okay with paying more money for a game if I knew that game was going to come out and be great. But we know that that's not the reality. So therefore, it's like you're going to ask us to pay more money in hopes that this game is good. And then we have to worry about more refunds and more this, more that. Grand Theft Auto, I know it's going to be a great game. They know what they're doing. They've been baking this game for a while. I'm okay to pay $100 for this. Other people wanting to respond to that, no. If Ubisoft follows suit and it's like Shadows is going to be $100.
$100.
Fuck you guys. You need to prove yourself before
That
you can
is
charge me that
awesome.
amount
And
of
I
money.
think that's going to create like the whole thing about prime example. I hate to say this is Dragon Age. It got a lot of flack for what it was. I still think it was a great game, but I think that's going to cause like this $100 thing. For example, you're saying Ubisoft, people are going to critique it extremely more than they before the game even releases. Right. So they're going to look into it more. We're going to get more bad news, and it's going to have a lot of bad press when it's actually a good game. I'm not saying Shadows is going to be a good game. I'm just saying in general, it's going to create a bandwagon effect where everyone's going to jump on it because fucking Goldman or whatever his fucking name is said like this game's going to be shit. Don't waste $100 on it. Yada this, yada that, because they have this and that and this and that. Because you hear all this random news and then it's just creates a bandwagon effect and everyone's going to fucking hate it.
Yeah.
What I've heard and what I agree with is that people are talking about, yes, because of the big studios and how many people they have and what it takes and the amount, like the size of the games, like having $100 isn't a reasonable, increase. But what people aren't talking about and what people have mentioned is they're not taking account of battle passes, in-game purchases, all these microtransactions that get put in to this, like the amount of money that has Grand Theft Auto 5 has generated by itself over the years with, re-releases, the price not changing much. Obviously, if you get it on Steam, like the price, fluctuate. Like most games, the price will fluctuate on Steam. In 2015, they raised the price of Grand Theft Auto 5 to $80 for including a shark card that provide additional in-game money. Like all these things that they add to this has made Rockstar $8.5 billion as of December 2024. That's a shit ton of money. If anything, the game should be less because they know that they're going to be making money over time, and that's what a lot of these companies do. Like can you imagine paying $100 for a game, and then you're going to spend probably way more money on that? Like the whole point is to just like PlayStation or like most consoles would do, they take a cut on the initial console so they can sell more games.
Right.
People want to buy games. I feel like that is reasonable to expect from these companies, AAA companies that are going to do the same thing. Like, we want you to buy more stuff, and we're going to make it where, we've seen all the practices that they do right now. So it's like, I don't know. Can you imagine? Like, a lot of people who are just struggling right now, given the economy, like, they're probably only going to buy one game, and it would suck to buy it and it's shit right out of the gate, and then only a year later it's finally playable. Like that. I think it would tank the industry overall, given the current state that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way. Like, companies would be shutting down left and right.
That is a good point about the pass component to it, because I didn't think about that with even GTA. Because like in my mind, I'm like, yes, I want to pay $100 for GTA 6 because I know it's gonna be really good. It's gonna have a lot of good content, but then the GTA Online component is included in that, and there is a revenue stream there that has proven that it's good. Back then they didn't know if it's going to do good or not. So, it was a different conversation 10 years ago when GTA 5 was like doing its thing. But now, like, we know GTA Online is a successful idea. They're going to do it again. That makes a lot of sense because it's like, everybody complains about when you get an Assassin's Creed game and they put, a store inside of it. And like every game that Ubisoft makes has a microtransaction store in it.
Yep.
I'm like,
spend those Helix credits.
That's right.
and it's like, and my thing is, to this point of like, because I want to be on the side of like the developers, and I am on the side of developers. I know the developers are working really, really hard, but what's probably going to happen is if consumers are okay with $100 being the new norm, they're still going to put the stores and the cosmetics into it and generate that revenue. So it's like, we got to have a trade-off in some capacity. So I don't want a store in my $100 game.
Exactly.
I want to pay $100 and that game gives me 60 hours of content, 50, even if it's a really badass game and it's 40 hours long, I'm okay with that. Give me a great game for the value. Awesome. But then if you add all this other junk into it that generates more revenue, then now I'm like, well, then why are you paying me this if you're going to make that much money in 2 months from now kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they should just stick with like, oh, the standard game is this much, but if you pay this much, you get to play it early, and you get like you said, you get a shark card for the online stuff. You know, have that fucking carrot on the stick type thing.
I heard a lot of people are pissed right now with Civilization 7 because people paid the $100 for the early access, and they said that it basically feels like an early access game right now. It's kind of broken. It's having a lot of issues and technical. Like they basically say the game's not finished, and they're like, "This sucks because this is a full release game that I paid $100 for to play early, and it's not playable early." And that's what can happen, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine paying $100 for that; it's going to hurt even more, you know.
I mean, with Suicide Squad, we couldn't play the first day or the first few hours. They had issues. Actually, I don't think you could play the first day.
That's right.
It wasn't until like really late.
Yeah.
They finally fixed it. But at that point, everyone's like, "I'm not even going to jump on today." So yeah, you have all these problems with this stuff, and it's just like at every turn they're trying to milk our money. But at the same time, I think people should have a little, you know, what's the right word I'm looking for? Restraint on this stuff. Like, I think for a long time, a lot of people say don't pre-order games because it doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, you get some cool stuff, but some of that stuff is just basically just BS. No. Like, you get a skin that you're going to use once and then never use it again. Like, there's a lot of that. So I think the way GTA might actually cost $100 is apparently Rockstar Games is reportedly planning to sell Grand Theft Auto Online 2 separate from Grand Theft Auto 6 at launch.
Oh.
This means the players will have the option to purchase either the standalone online component or the full package that includes both the story mode and GTA Online. Now, with that might be worth the $100. Maybe. So, say $70 for the base game.
And then $30 for the online. I would pay that.
Yeah. Well, if you have the option to, if you have the option not do it, then yeah. I'd be
especially if I don't want to play right then and there. I can just play the standard game, see how it feels, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would like to play this online with people.
Right.
But it also depends on like what it is online. I mean, I want some good game.
I really hope that they somehow have solved the online component to not be so clunky and weird, you know.
Oh, please.
But I'm worried that they will not have done that. But I feel like every GTA, I'm like, oh man, I hope the online's better. And people love it, obviously, because it's been a cash cow. But like when we jumped into it for that little bit, it was fun, but there was so much stuff in it that was just like
because we got into we didn't grow with it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's the issue. Like, we weren't constantly playing it. We didn't grow with it. Same way with like jumping in Destiny just randomly. You're like, what the fuck is all this? You know?
Yeah.
Because we weren't a part of the community and we weren't growing with it as it was growing.
Well, they didn't really have the heist, which was the big hype at the time. It was like, oh, you get to do heist with your friends. That took like 2-3 years later or something like that.
Did it take that long?
Yeah,
it took a while.
I think it was like 6 months or something. But yeah, it took a while.
Longer than we wanted to.
Yeah.
Because we were done with the game by that point.
Well, because that was like the key point of the game, too.
I remember doing a lot of heists. It was fucking fun. Yeah. It was so fun.
I know we tried to go back and do some for the stream a while back, but
it was just too convoluted to fucking figure out.
You need this, you need that. You need your own place, you need vehicles.
So I want to make a comment about when I came into this conversation, what I had in my head was like, I'm all for $100 games. Like, let's give money back to the players or to the consumer, the developers. But the points you brought up were good about the battle pass bullshit and just like all these different things that occur. But I do want to make a point of what developers and publishers specifically, because I think the developers are hindered by the publishers and the suits that are, dictating things. What they fail to realize is that if you can build a really good badass game, the cost of entry is going to give you the money you need if you do what players are looking for. And I don't think they fully understand always what players are looking for. Case in point, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 just came out this past week. And it is a $60 game. It is an open world action RPG. The graphics aren't amazing. There's no microtransactions. There's no fluff. There's no bullshit. This game paid for itself in one day after release. Like, that's make a good game.
I mean, that's all it takes.
it's
Make a
$59.90.
good
It's not even a
freaking
$70 game. It's like holy shit.
Yeah, and there are games who do that still. Like games that don't cost regular price games. Like they're making their money back.
It even beat Helldivers 2 launch week Steam numbers.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a
And that was on.
It's a single player game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first one did really well.
Yeah.
Like it got rave reviews.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it made. I'm sure it made. That's sure
it
it was
did really
a success.
Good. Yeah.
Might not have been like a ballpark, but this is like, yeah.
So it's like this is a perfect example. And then Balatro, that game made its money back, and I mean it made a shit ton of money in the first day. I think over $1 million or whatever, and it was made for like not even close to that.
Yeah.
So it's like if they make they're focused too much on like how do we maximize our profit and numbers and revenue and build all these streams of revenue and stuff. It's just like the first thing you should be looking at is, do we have a great game here? If we do, cool. Does it, and then secondly, does it insult and or like hurt the players in any way? Like does it there's a phrase I'm trying to find. I can't think of the phrase, but it's like does it respect the players? Like that's what it's like. Does this game respect the players? If it does, then cool. Let's release it. You're going to be good. I think Helldivers 2 did that. It's like that was it was a $40 game. We loved it. Had a blast playing it. Respected the players
with their microtransactions. Like it's not over the top.
It's not crazy. There's like nothing there that like we bitch about, but they're probably making a bunch of money off of that game. And it's like it's continuing to do well and succeed. It's just. There's a balance that has to be made, and I think this game analysis person being like, oh man, like if they raise $100, that just makes it easier for everybody else to do it. Well, you also got to give back to the players too. If you're gonna take more, you have to be able to give more in some capacity.
Yeah, I just think that people who are running the publishing companies they see dollar signs, and they're just like, I don't know. Look, this is what my random questionnaire to my control group has said was like popular stuff. So integrate this so we can make more money. And there's like just a huge disconnect, That's why, Belgar was going to be, games as a service when originally it's supposed to be a single player game. So obviously there's a lot of like ups and downs and things change with that game to get to where it is now. And it's just like, if you just let people cook, like especially the original people who made you this great IP, you're gonna make more money.
Yeah,
they don't want to do that. So we'll see. Because if GTA 6 is going to be $100, I guarantee you other people will go to 80. Like they probably won't go to 100, but we're going to get that creep up to 100. Slowly but surely.
More than likely, or they're just going to go straight for the 100.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, $100.
Well, we know Ubisoft's going to go straight for 100.
Yeah.
If they're around by then.
That's right.
When did Shadows come out? Fucking May?
Yeah, it was May 20th or something like that. I think they moved it to.
We shall see. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Definitely GTA 6, if they do it right, play it right, I'll pay that, but it's case by case basis. I don't think the whole industry
really
should shift
to
that price point. I mean, we're at the point now where we have a lot of, I mean, you were saying earlier, like Dice Folk isn't $14.99 for you, but for me, that's like great value, you know? Like everybody has different perspective of what value is to them, and it's like we can't be like, across the board, let's make
it
the price
$100.
point, you know? Like, it's like, you know, there was, you know, Ghost of Yotai. I'm like, yes, I'll pay $70 for that.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's other games that are coming out that I'm like, nah, I probably want to pay $50 for that, you know, or $49.99, or that is $50. Yeah, that's just, it depends on what you're getting and what you're delivering. And
recently I was like, oh, maybe I want to get Octopath Traveler 2 and Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
On the Switch. And they're both $60 games. And I'm like,
it's Nintendo, man.
I want to play it, but I don't want to play it that
badly.
So it's just one of those things.
I was listening to another conversation on another podcast talking about this same situation, and they did make a point that I never thought about. Nintendo never changes their pricing on any of their games, you know, they're always like stuck with it.
Yeah.
But damn, do they do a good job of releasing a game that's never broken.
Every time.
You know,
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
They're the only publishing group that has. I mean, even if their games aren't like the most fun or the most exciting, like those games always work. You know, they work, they function. Never once had a complaint where I'm like, oh man, this thing just can't play it for 10 days. You know, it just it
Needs
works.
update. Fucking patch. Fucking.
Well, it's just like we were talking about earlier. What were we talking about earlier? I just had a thought and I lost it. It'll come back to me. Continue.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
That's it.
What was your last point?
That
Say
was
it
the
one time.
point.
That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
point.
that Nintendo doesn't have bugs.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
worth the price
Yeah.
because they never bring out a buggy game. So it's like, they may not lower
So
the
they
prices.
have a
but
reasoning
they have
to
a
not
reason
lower their prices.
Yeah, they're good at that. So
I had a point. It was just on that, and now I forgot.
it's a great point. Love
Yeah.
it.
I'm gonna think of it later and be like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, right. One game I just want, I guess, as a final note that I want to throw out to y'all. I was listening to somebody talk about a game that has recently released that I did not have on my radar, but I think should be on at least Austin's radar because I heard it's pretty good. Eternal Strands. It is Mark Laidlaw, composed by Austin Wintory. Apparently, it's very Zelda inspired.
I saw this one.
Yeah, it's a $40 game. It's getting really good reviews, and they say it's an open world game that finally like respects the player and understands. There's nothing in here that is fluff.
Looks great.
There's no points of interest on the map that are like a waste of time or whatever. It's like very guided and very focused, and not like a super long game. But it's apparently like a really good, solid mix of like Zelda, and then I'm trying to remember what the other game was that they compared it to.
Dragon Age.
No, what's the
Avowed?
PlayStation game where you climb up the Colossus?
Shadow of the
Shadows
Colossus.
of the Colossus.
Yeah,
the Colossus.
but I kind of want to get this game.
I might get this. I've been looking for a single player game.
Also, it's on Game Pass,
Oh,
there
shit.
you go.
Even better.
I think.
It's a $40 game. Oh yeah, I'm gonna review this.
Yeah, I figured that'd be something that, and it's one that's like been kind of under the radar because it came out so early, but
Yeah,
people are
it just
saying like
came out.
it's got some really good potential. So
Yellow Brick Games. Who have they made? They have not made anything.
oh yeah, here's okay. It's yeah, so it is like Dragon Age because it's the it's from the wait. Yeah, Mark Laidlaw, he was the former creative director for Dragon Age. So this is his game on his own studio.
Hard.
Yeah.
I'm very hard right now.
So yeah, check it out.
Cool.
Eternal Strands.
Yeah.
Not $100.
Not
Not
$100.
$100.
$40.
We'll make all the money. Watch it. Watch.
Yep.
All right. That's it, guys. Let us know what you think. Do you want to pay $100 for video games or do you not? I don't know. Duke it out.